Thanks for joining me as I travel the world, going from fine dining through to street food and local specialties, all in an effort to find the world's best seafood. Hi folks, on today's episode of World's Best Seafood, I'm going to 108 Japanese restaurant in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It was recommended by the hosts of the place that I'm currently staying at. It's meant to be really nice, but kind of a local joint, so let's check it out and see what's on the menu. Hello, reservation for one for 8 o'clock. Yeah. They only had 2 white wines by the glass. I ordered a biodynamic French one from the Loire Valley. It was quite nice. Now the 108 menu had a heap of different sake options, not too much in the way of wine, much less in terms of glasses. Then it was heavy on sushi in terms of the food. They did have a special winter menu with a couple of different soups. The omakase menu actually seemed really good, although it was tiny servings. The table next to me were having it. But I saw they had a 108 sushi roll special that's $50 for one sushi roll with sea urchin, salmon roe, mixed fish, tobiko, egg, campio, shiso, and watercress. I don't know about you, but when I see a $50 sushi roll, I just have to satisfy my curiosity and try it for myself. The waitress asked if I'd like any edamame or miso soup to start off, so I grabbed a soup. It had radish in there. It was extremely hot in temperature, but extremely mild in flavor. To be honest, the opposite of what it should be in the middle of winter. If I were in Japan, I would expect it to be really hearty in this kind of cold weather and come to the table at the right temperature to consume. For me, this was really quite unsatisfying. After the miso soup, it was a really painfully long wait to get the sushi roll to come out. If I had been with a group of friends, I think it still would have felt a long time, but by myself, it really dragged.
So the salted fish and the tomato and the mixed vegetables inside, and the sea urchin and the kure santan.
Great, thank you. Taking a look at the sushi roll, it certainly is impressive. It's big chunks of uni and of fish eggs as well, and not too much rice. Really nice and thin on the rice, and a good balance, nicely rolled. Overall, a light flavor. It was disappointing that the wasabi that was served was fake. It's just, horseradish and mustard and green food coloring like in a lot of cheaper restaurants. The shiso in the roll worked really nicely, but for me, it really needed a little kick. Maybe that's standard for this kind of restaurant, but having no wasabi in the roll was surprising. And I think it could do with something more textural, like a crunchier pickle or maybe radish, I'm not sure. The pickled ginger on the side though was really delicious. Look, for my flavor, uni was firm, but not creamy, and it lacked flavor. Little cutaway, I repeatedly say I'm not a food critic. I'm a food lover and I've eaten a lot and I like to share my opinion. Having said that, if there's any cuisines that I feel like I can be somewhat critical on just because I've tried so much in different countries, including the country of origin, Japanese would be one and Chinese would be 2. Now, I'm not saying that I'm by any means, top of the pack in terms of critical opinion, but I certainly think that I have justified to hold an opinion considering the variety and different qualities of Japanese food that I've eaten. And for me, some of the ingredients in that, especially the uni, just weren't up to the price that they were charging. Alright, so that was a nice meal, but I have to say, if we're talking about the roll on its own, is it worth the money? For me, it's a big old no. But it's a but. If you were with a group of friends instead of being Billy No Mates like I was tonight, that shared between 5 along with some tempura and some other dishes could work really well. I think if you had a tempura and a grilled and some soup and this and that better than that miso soup, it could work well, but they didn't really have anything grilled on the menu. I did also think that it was a bit of a rip that the miso soup that she offered, which wasn't on the menu, so I assumed it was like an amuse-bouche, was actually $6 and I thought it was rubbish. I checked the menus before the bill had come and there was no miso soup on there, so there was no way to know how much you were going to be charged for that watery concoction. So coming in altogether, $50 for the sushi, $12 for the wine, $6 for the soup, coming in at $68 plus tip. It's not a cheap meal, but as I said, in a bigger package it'd be quite good. Maybe by, you know, American standards that's quite good uni, but it was disappointing that at that price point you're getting fake wasabi and, you know, still the uni was lacking in flavor. Anyway, still a nice way to round out the week, and seeing I'm on a budget, I couldn't go crazy and have, you know, food for three to see how it would pair up with other dishes. So I hope you still found that interesting. Please do like and subscribe, leave me your comments, and I'll see you soon on my future journey for the world's best seafood.